What you want to do? What you want to do? What you want to do?
What y'all gonna do? I want y'all to be a man. I want y'all to be a man. Do something. Y'all gonna let a man hit me in my face. Because men are not providers and protectors, not innately, because they only protect what they possess. But we protect everybody, and we provide, baby, okay? For all the rappers and public figures in general who said that Sukiyana and other women who rap about their bodies vulgarly are just gonna be touched because they bring it onto themselves, just know that when you're talking about your money and how much you like a trick, it will be touched. It will be touched. And I'm gonna start tonight. This is for the fact that you're a white man and I'm a black woman. I have less privilege than you. Thank you.
Oh, I feel bad. We're all God's children.
Okay, let me see. Honestly, it's not that bad. She's not that bad. This is me as a senior citizen. Happy Pride. I hope every black woman is kissing another black woman because we are the innate protectors and the providers. We protect societies, we protect communities with our intellectual property, with our lived experiences, with our breast milk, with our bodies. We're the ones. And the two. Bitch, not even the three. What y'all not gonna do? What y'all not gonna do is ever again remind me that Cardi B is Afro-Latina because she does not present as a black woman and she is not treated as a black woman. And I already knew that when she was coming up and she was getting so much support from black men caping for her, congratulating her, because we know that they don't do that for black girls in the ordinary. You have to be racially ambiguous or non-black to get that kind of support from black men. And also just the way that she moved up so quickly is not a black girl experience. But let's put that to the side. She just pled guilty to sending men to assault 2 black women at their place of work and got 15 days of community service. I'm pretty sure that black people get more for jaywalking. And it's not just that, it's that she got $4 million for a blogger talking about her child and her health status, which is wrong, I don't condone that. But she sat there on the stand with her white woman tears. This affected me psychologically. I couldn't play with my kid. I couldn't work. What do you think about those black women that you send men to beat them up and then said that they were lying and then taunted them online and then with your large following encourage others to untaunt them online? What about their psychological state? What do they deserve? Clearly nothing. Y'all hate us so much but love to be us, and we hate to see it. I cannot have Indian hair. Indian women have black women hair because they are recessive of black women, okay? So stop telling every black woman with soft texture hair that she has Indian hair. Black people possess every texture of hair. We have every texture of hair from 1A all the way to 4C, okay? So stop it. We're every complexion, we have every color eyes, we have every color texture of hair, we have all the different phenotypes because civilization started with us. Message to the mixed girls in their DMs. Coming to us, and I don't know why you're so confused. You really don't have no choice. And who took away that choice? White people. So go talk to your white side of your family. I don't know why you bothering us. Oh yeah. And yo, this man just hit me in my face with a brick, and all these black men just watch, and they don't give a fuck. Yeah, this man hit me, fucking grabbed a rock and it hit me in my fucking face because I would have given him my number. And all y'all just fucking watch. Y'all see that shit? Y'all see that shit? What y'all gonna do? I want y'all to be a man. I want y'all to be a man and fucking do something. Y'all gonna let a man hit me in my face. Man, fuck all y'all niggas. What have I ever done to anybody in my life to deserve this? I never did anything in my life to hurt anybody. Literally, a man asked me for my number. I said no, and he picked up a brick in front of so many men and was like, what you gonna do? And I told all these men, like, yo, why this man got a brick on my face? And he's holding a brick, and all these niggas is watching, and nobody does nothing. And he hits me in my face, and then they all just watch. And they let that nigga get in a corner. How is this okay? This is what y'all doing to women?
The story that we have here today is so insane. It's so crazy. But it's a necessity that we go over it here today, because not only does it include all of these hot button topics such as black women being the least protected, but also the story itself also proves that there's always more than what meets the eye. Ensure that you take note of all of the themes and learnings throughout this video right here, but here are the main ones that I want you to grab a hold of as we proceed forward. The first one, hashtag believe all women, is absolutely, fundamentally bullshit. The second one, only certain types of women are worthy to be protected. And lastly, men today should only be held responsible to protect the women that they're accountable for. But understandably, the internet went completely ablaze when this video went live, with conversations around how could anybody do this to this pure, young, beautiful young woman that obviously did nothing to cause consternation before getting bricked, or why no one around her sought to help the poor, defenseless young black woman, and also conversations about the detriment of emotional ass men. But guys, hold on to the portion of the video where she says that I didn't do anything in order to deserve this. Hold on to that. We're gonna actually review her reaction right after the incident happened. Now guys, understand, right after I saw this video right here, that's when the alarm bell started to go off. Why? If you just got bricked, why is the first reaction to record for the gram? Shouldn't your first reaction be to call for help, to call the cops? But as the hematoma is slowly growing on the side of your face, you decide to take out your phone, to take out your camera, and record all the people around you and shame them into why haven't you helped me in this situation? Completely odd behavior, but my spidey senses were tingling at that point, because it begins to paint a picture that perhaps way more happened than what met the eye. Now, generally, this type of outlandish, why haven't you helped me type of behavior could come from a true portion and a true sense within her heart, but pay attention to the shaming language that she used as she said it. My mind immediately went towards that this is a woman that expects other men around her to defend her from her egregious behavior.
I'm not gonna make a video dealing with this whole woman, the woman that got hit with the brick, because this shit has gotten out of control. This whole gender war shit, and it's tearing the community apart. Not just this, but a whole bunch of fucking issues that's been coming around, and these fucking social media apps is just nothing but an echo chamber just to further divide the fucking black community. It's already fucking fucked up. But in the near future, I'm gonna make a video I'm gonna show you black women why you should not follow feminism. I'm gonna break the shit down in a way that you can understand it, and you're gonna see where this shit's going. But we need to stop this fucking gender war in our community, because this shit is getting out of fucking control. This shit is stupid.
Explain to me how males want to be viewed and treated as leaders and submitted to so.
It's because you women say things like, we don't need men. Men are useless. We can protect ourselves. We don't need you for anything. We're independent. Hashtag all men, which had 4.7 billion likes before it got shut down. It's all men until it's no men. You can't sit here and call a masculine trait toxic, and then when that masculine trait doesn't work in your favor, oh, why didn't you do this? Because you called it toxic. These are the consequences of your actions. Yep. You made it so that men are no longer able to be men anymore because that's deemed toxic, and that same toxic behavior now you want to save you.
You can't make this shit up. You can't make this shit up.
You ladies, like, again, this was a horrible, heinous act that happened to this woman. I hope that this man gets caught and she gets the justice that she deserves. I truly hope that. But you can't sit here and deem this toxic trait that you've called toxic, now you want it to protect you. That's not how that works.
I did want to have this conversation in terms of, you know, what this young gentleman said, and as well as when we watched the video. in watching the video while she's talking and while she's panning the camera around, to me, the first thing that popped up in my mind was that all of these, men that are standing around her all looked relatively young. Right? I did not see in that video, as well as this young man speaking, anybody who looked like they were like, mid to late 30s, 40s, like, these big men. They all looked like they were like maybe in their early 20s. And, not that necessarily has anything to do with the quote unquote protection that she's calling out for, but she looks like she is, pretty older than this crowd of men that were standing around her. And I think that, in any case, looking for people who do not know you to step up to the plate to cover you or quote unquote protect you in a situation that they might not know 100%, the backstory of, is a little bit of entitlement. I'm just going to be honest. Because you are looking around to these people who are standing around you and saying, I'm expecting you to, take a foot forward, step up for me, protect me, cover me, have my back with this person who was clearly a lunatic. I am looking for you to risk your life for me, even though you don't know me, just because I am a woman. And I have to say it, we live in the day and age that this is not necessarily what we're going to find. Now, I also want to say that I find that it is more likely that men are actually prone to protect women, to stand up for women, to intervene when another man is around. However, we are in a day and time that men have taken situations, taken note of it, and saying, okay, I am not going to do X, Y, and Z because I don't want to deal with the repercussions of standing up for someone or protecting someone and then that person flipping on me, or even worse, standing up for somebody and being a quote unquote hero for someone that I don't know, leaving my own family naked, as in without protection. It's insane to see that, women are stepping forward and they are, talking about all men because of this one particular situation. Like I've seen in the comment sections on TikTok, on, Instagram, everywhere, everybody is trying to make a spectacle of all men and how all men are scary and they're violent and they're this and they're that. They're making a whole synopsis of what all men do and how all men are and how all men, would not protect women off of this one particular situation. Off of this one lunatic. It's baffling to me. They're covering a multitude of all men because of this one situation. But the minute that you see multiple women doing a specific thing and you talk about women will be, oh, but that's not all women. Well, you need to clarify because you talking about all women are not like this.
Cool. And so my sentiment was nobody should put their hands on anybody, and that would solve for the problem of people having to worry about protection from other people and then them requiring black men to then crash out, right? Black men to then crash out. But I changed my mind. And I don't change my mind about the fact that people should keep their hands to themselves. I changed my mind about her. I changed my mind about her. You know what I realize about women is that they're more willing than ever to overlook the other part of the conversation that also adds context as to why she was even in a position to get a brick put on her head in the first place. Nobody, no women, they only see the tragedy, they only see the offense, they only see the lack of protection according to them. They don't see what warrants that type of energy in the first place. Yo, I know women who have never got, Rita specifically, has never gotten into a fight in her entire life. That's a fact. Rita has never gotten into a fight in her entire life. And you have to ask yourself, well, why is that? Doesn't mean that she has never been offended by something that somebody says. It doesn't mean that she hasn't ever been, in a situation, especially being raised in the hood where she's seen some egregious stuff. But the reality is that most women that truly operate in their femininity, they never, ever, ever find themselves under duress. Most. You can't speak to the minority. Of course, you're going to have the anomalies. Of course, you're going to have the monsters out there or whatever, right? But that's just a matter of convenience. Most people, most women, Randy said neither have she. Nikki said they ain't never got into a fight. Treese ain't never got into a fight before. You have to wonder, how come it's the loud, ratchet ones that always find themselves with the most scars on their face? And it's never the ones that operate with that sweet voice, that femininity, that automatically show a level of respect to everybody, including the men that they interact with on a regular basis. Men may catcall you. Men may want your number, but they not just going to go upside your head with a break and
What if it was your girlfriend, wife, daughter, sister, mom's, cousin, or friend that got hit with a brick? I'm going to be so real with y'all, brutally honest. I'm going to crash out. My mom, my sister, my cousin, my daughter, my girlfriend, my friend. I'm going to crash out. You know why? Because I am okay dying behind them. Because you have to think, during any physical altercation with another person, you could possibly die. There's a chance you don't come back from that. You don't walk away from that. For my mom, sister, cousin, girlfriend, daughter, wife, whatever, my friend, I'm okay with that. With that, I can take that risk and I'm okay with those consequences. I'm going to crash out behind my people. But for some random lady, I can't do that. I can't do that. I'm not Spider-Man. I'm not Captain America. I can't do that. I'm not willing to die behind a stranger who don't know my name, who will probably never meet my parents, who probably won't even come to my funeral. I can't. Because now I done tried to intercept and intervene and break up an assault, domestic violence, whatever the hell, and I get cooked. Now my mom is down one. My sister is down one. My grandmother is down one. My daughter is down one. My friend is down one. My cousin is down one. Everybody is down one because I wanted to be a superhero. I've never been called a bullet bag before, and I can admit that don't feel good in my chest. Damn. All because the video I made explaining in great detail how I would definitely risk my life and defend the black woman in my life, but how I'm just not okay risking my body and my life for a stranger in this situation with a brick being involved in weapons, and I'm a bullet bag. This makes me a bullet bag. But never in my life once have I ever spoke illy of black women, came against black women, but now I'm a bullet bag.
Y'all, I'm so violently angry right now, and unfortunately I can't say all the things that I would like to say because I don't want to get this video taken down. But we really need to have a conversation about how respectability politics not only will never save us, of course, but also actively harms us and justifies the violence that we face. I will say though very quickly that I appreciate social media because men on here will fully admit to being the pieces of human feces that they truly are. But what scares me is the fact that they lack the self-awareness and understanding that they are that. So take what you will with that, honestly. Like from the random man in Atlanta to this man right here who refused to protect a woman who was physically assaulted. So for context, a black man hits on a black woman, she cusses him out, rejects him, and he hits her with a brick. She's in the hospital currently, and this man that I just did said that he saw the whole thing, didn't do anything because he sees her as a troublemaker. And this man fully admits in his video that if all of this were to happen once again, that he would do the same thing. Why? And I'm paraphrasing, because she's not a respectable woman. And I feel like this ties into the conversation that we were just having previously about the whole like sexy red shit and about how like respectability politics will never save us and whoop-de-whoop-de-woo. But honestly, I would go as far to say that like respectability politics actively harms us. It justifies the violence that black women face. And we see that all the time. It's literally riddled in his comment section. People are sitting here and being like, oh, I knew there was more to the story. What more is there to the story? There is no more to the story. She was hit in the face with a brick after this man catcalled her. And I'm really getting sick and tired of people saying like, oh, well, I don't think she deserved to get hit with a brick, but she also did A, B, C, D. Obviously, you believe that she deserved to get hit with the brick because you're bringing up all of these examples in which she has done quote unquote wrongdoing as to imply that it was justified. Like, be so serious right now. And to the black women that are co-signing on this respectability nonsense, know that the only respectable woman is one that is no longer walking among us.
Genuinely, are we okay? Because, like, the men folk, are we okay? It hasn't even been a full 24 hours yet, and y'all are already trying to diminish this girl's reputation and use her old videos against her as a justification for her being victimized. Like, I'm literally just flabbergasted right now because there's just no way. You see a woman come on here and say she got hit with a brick and that no other man helped her, and your first instinct is, let me go to her Instagram and see what she said in the past. Like, y'all do know y'all are using white supremacist tactics, right? Like, y'all are using tools of white supremacy against a black woman. Because quickly now, what's the first thing the people do when a black man is pew-pewed? Exactly. So, I don't know. Why don't we just, I don't know, crazy idea here, protect and believe women? Wild thought.
If you are not dating us, if you're not having some sort of physical relationship to us, if you don't find us attractive, if you don't find us polite enough, kind enough, quiet enough, that our lives...
Is that what you're telling us? Is that the precedent you're setting?
Yes. The same way women will say, you're not my family, you're not someone I'm romantically involved with, you're not tall enough, handsome enough, rich enough, smart enough. I don't owe you a smile. I don't owe you words of encouragement. I don't owe you respect. I don't owe you any kind of gratitude. Men will hold the doors open for women and they won't even say thank you because I don't know you. The same way when you see a man down on his luck, you judge and laugh instead of offering him words of encouragement, speaking life into him. Why should I do that? That's a stranger. Things that don't cost you anything, you will not give to a man that you don't know, you don't want. But y'all expect these men who don't know you, don't owe you anything, and they have their own families at home that they need to get back to. Y'all expect those men to lay their life on the line for you when y'all can't even give them a hi, smile, or a thank you. Oh, okay.
First of all, let's start here. No one's telling you anything. No one's trying to set a precedence. I don't think anyone is looking to make history here. But the reality is, no one's telling you anything because we don't owe you an explanation. And the fact that you think that we do owe you an explanation is utterly ridiculous. Let's start with the fact that we live in a society where, for the majority of my lifetime, all I've ever heard you guys say is that you don't need a man. You're strong and independent. You can do bad by yourself. Excuse me, you can do bad all by yourself. I grew up listening to these slogans. I grew up listening to women around us constantly say these things, constantly remind the men on a daily basis just how useless we are in your eyes. At the end of the day, what it boils down to is this, and I will reiterate it, okay? We don't get to expect anything of you. We barely get to ask you anything. We don't get to ask you what you bring to the table. We don't get to ask you if you're a traditional woman. We don't get to ask you what your body count is. We don't get to expect things out of you like what used to be considered woman's work, which is now considered offensive to think of as women's work or to expect it. We don't get to expect you to cook. We don't get to expect you to clean. We don't get to expect you to be submissive, cooperative, ladylike. We don't get to expect you to not have a child before we meet you. We don't get to expect you to remain chaste until you actually get married. We don't get to expect anything out of you.
Reason why black women don't feel protected by black men is because black women run their mouth too much. They talk too much. They yell, they scream. They have a mouth. And they get very disrespectful. They don't know how to control their tongue. So black man is saying, if you're going to put yourself in harm's way, why should I get in that? Why, if you're loud talking a man, you get disrespectful, why should he intervene? That's why black women do not feel protected by black men. Because black men saying, you talk too much. You need to pipe down and quiet your mouth. And a lot of women feel they could actually fight a man. And no, you can't fight a man. Do you hear me? You can't fight a man. You don't have the strength. So black men leave you to take some licks. That's why a lot of you guys are getting hit by black men and you don't feel protected. Because black men say you run your mouth too much. That's why black men don't protect black women. Facts.
In regards to black women not being protected, let me first state the obvious. No man should put his hands on a woman. We desire protection, but sometimes what we don't understand is that true protection comes with a level of control. Bodyguards are a good example. A bodyguard will make their client leave from a dangerous place. The bodyguard has to know all the details: who, what, when, where, why, and how. And the client has to listen to the bodyguard and follow the instruction that the bodyguard gives them. It's really an agreement between all parties involved. When the person who needs protecting does not follow the instruction and the direction of the protector, it puts the protector in a situation where they're more likely to lose their life. I have 4 brothers and a father, and I listen to their instruction even when they're not around. They have told me to stay away from certain places if I'm by myself or if it's late at night. They've also advised me not to be drunk or high in certain situations. Even though my brothers, my dad, and the men in my life protect me, I in turn protect them by listening to them and following their instruction. They don't have to come to my defense in some wild scenario, because if I listened to them, I wouldn't have been there in the first place. And this is another thing I feel like is pertinent to say, and I know folks ain't gonna like this one. I don't have sons right now, but when I do have sons, I'm gonna teach them that there's a difference between diamonds and dirt and rubies and rocks. Rubies and diamonds are often in jewelry stores. They're in glass cases, they're secured, there's an alarm system. There's a lot of layers of protection because those things are valuable. But you could pull over to the side of the road and find some dirt and rocks. Expecting a man to risk his well-being, his future, and his life on someone who does not see value in themselves or the man is asinine. That's a very asinine thing to ask. All I'm saying is, protection comes with a little bit of sacrifice. It comes with a little bit of control. And me personally, I feel that what I have to sacrifice and the amount of control I have to give up is 100% worth it to receive the protection that I've been getting my whole life. I made a video about black women and preventative protection and how if you want someone to protect you, you're going to have to listen to them and try to avoid being in dangerous situations. And because you guys didn't like what I said, I received death threats. People wish that someone would bust my car window and pistol whip me. People wish that some people or that they themselves could find me and hit me with a brick. All these young girls that are out here that are still wet behind the ears but are aging like milk and bananas, calling me old. I'm not expecting y'all to be like, oh my gosh, I can't believe that, because I know y'all don't care. But I'm gonna say what I want regardless, because I don't receive my self-worth and validation based on what people say about me online. I proudly grew up in a time before all of that, and my self-worth and validation is based on my principles and my character. Some of y'all wouldn't know nothing about that. So I'll say this again, for the people that have sense, preventative protection is the best kind of protection. For every other crime that exists, we understand that preventative measures is the best way to avoid said crimes. If I don't want my car broken into or stolen or vandalized, I'm not gonna leave it unlocked with valuable things in my car. I know people personally who have gotten their car broken into several times. I've never gotten my car broken into, knock on wood. If I don't want to get robbed, I'm not going to go to the ATM late at night by myself, because that is not a wise decision to make. And you guys can say, well, that still doesn't stop people from getting robbed or their car getting stolen or whatever, but it greatly minimizes the risk. You feel me? Same thing when it comes to condoms and birth control. Condoms and birth control are not 100% effective, but it significantly minimizes the risk of you getting an STD or you getting pregnant. In addition to taking preventative measures by not being in dangerous places by yourself, actually listening to the men that tell you to take preventative measures is another way that will help to ensure your safety as a woman in this world. And to the ladies who have never had a man love them enough to try to prevent something bad from happening to them, you honestly have my sincere condolences. And to those of you who say, why don't you just tell men to stop abusing women? Why don't we hold them accountable? If telling someone to stop being an abuser, a thief, or a murderer worked, then the prisons, we wouldn't have a need for prisons. None of that would exist. So excuse me for living in the real world. I'm a very proactive kind of person. We can't change what happened in the past or things that have already happened to women, but we could help minimize the risk of those things happening in the future. And because you guys didn't like what I said, I received death threats. People would.
So this is what I don't get for the life of me. I understand not liking what people saying, you don't agree with what they're saying, but for you to wish harm on another black woman, it defeats the purpose of the whole conversation. Like, we talking about protecting black women. So to go at it with another black woman and say you wish she died, you hope somebody hit her in the head with a brick, like, what's crazy is some of the stuff that she said in the video I initially agreed with. What I didn't rock with is the comparing women to inanimate objects. I will never rock with that. And I made several videos about not comparing black bodies, female black bodies, because that's what I'm focused on right now. I made a whole video about not comparing black bodies to chocolate, to cocoa beans, to stallions, motherfucking horses. And I received backlash from that. Black women saying, oh, it's not that deep. Now here we are some months later, and it's like, I don't know all the answers, but I know for a fact wishing harm on other black women, that is not the way to go. If you don't like what she's saying, you make another video and maybe correct her, but let's do it in an intellectual type manner. We don't have to resort to violence. That's what we're trying to get the men to stop doing. I just know that isn't the right way. I don't know what the fuck the answer is, but that definitely isn't the right way.